Who are you?
I'm no one. Where do you come from? I know all about waiting. For my family.
I will fulfill our destiny. I will finish what you started.
I don't know your name.
Finn.
I'm right. There are stories about what happened.
The Force. It's true. All of it.
Hope is not lost today. It is found.
My Nerd World.
Hello, Star Wars fans. Welcome to my Nerd World. It's episode number 26 of the Star Wars podcast. I am your host, John Justice, and something amazing happened this morning. So, the news, the Star Wars podcasting world, the news world had kind of calmed down a little bit after the full trailer was dropped on Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago, and we really didn't have much of anything new. I mean, as a matter of fact, most of the podcasts that I enjoy were good, but you could easily sense that there was this, I don't want to say it was a letdown by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't a letdown, but you could tell that there was this post-full trailer come down. There was a high that we had all experienced, and it was like, okay, now we got to breathe. You know, maybe we can go see the full trailer on the big screen when it debuts with Spectre this weekend. But we were all kind of figuring we weren't going to get any new footage from the movie at all. And earlier in the week, these character posters ended up dropping. You had character posters of Finn, Han Solo, Kylo Ren, Princess Leia, and Rey. And they were really cool. I mean, they were really cool character posters, but they weren't anything that you could really sink your teeth into. There wasn't anything to glean from them. They were all aesthetically the same, with something that was covering the right eye of the character, the blue lightsaber, Han Solo's blaster, Kylo Ren's saber. The Princess Leia one, well, Rey had her staff, of course, in front of her face. The Princess Leia one I thought was kind of the most interesting, just because it really was the one that evoked the original trilogy more so than any of the other ones. It showed the green, they had the green battle maps, the translucent ones that were in A New Hope, and also shown in The Empire Strikes Back. And those lines that you saw on those big, huge, clear panes of glass, and they show that in green in Princess Leia's character poster, which was really cool. And it actually was really similar to some very, very early Star Wars A New Hope images, especially during the Battle of Yavin. So those were pretty cool. But again, they weren't really anything that you could dissect all that much. And apart from that, there wasn't a whole lot going on except for this story of this Star Wars fan who is terminally ill, that we'll talk about a little bit later, whose dream it was to see The Force Awakens before it was released. And there was this internet push for Daniel Fleetwood, a 32-year-old man from Texas suffering from a very rare form of cancer. And it was almost as if that lull in the fandom after that trailer was meant to happen. Look, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. I believe in the Lord God Almighty. I'm a Christian. It's one of the things about Star Wars that I love. And as a kid, why I loved it so much, because I was drawn to this idea of the Force because it reminded me of my own faith. But there was something about the lull this week that I think really made a difference when it came to the effort that so many fans and even the actors in the film put behind in Daniel Fleetwood being able to go and see this movie. Thankfully, and I'll get to this a little bit later on in the podcast, his wish was granted this week prior to the big news that happened today. We'll get to that a little bit later on. So it was kind of quiet, you know, and my weekends have been, kind of been preoccupied with Star Wars and NASCAR. I'm a big Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan. It's one of the other podcasts that I do, and you know, my weekends are kind of surrounding both of those things. I find it hard to go and listen to or to watch other movies because I want to watch Star Wars movies, and you know, or I want to watch the Star Trek movies because it's J.J. Abrams. And this weekend it was funny because I was actually looking forward to, oh man, you know what? There's a bit of a lull in Star Wars stuff. Maybe I'll take a break this weekend, and I got a couple of movies stacked up on the TV rack in the living room, so that way I've got them chosen for the weekend. And I went to work this morning, and really, you know, just listening to music, and normally I listen to podcasts. So I was actually out of sort of the Star Wars mindset. I was able to escape it for a little while. I get to work, and I have this routine that I go through, and I go to my desk, and I make sure there's nothing there, and then I head upstairs. It's only 2 stories, but the stairs there wind me every time I walk up them, so I take the elevator, which is really dumb. I personally say that I give that elevator purpose. So as I'm riding up the elevator, I usually go on my phone, and I check my email, and then I head to this room where I go do my prep for my show, and I go through all the stories I've chosen for the day, and I do all my notes, and usually that leads me right into airtime. So I'm sitting there, and I get this email, and it wasn't even an email to me. It was a Facebook page, a Star Wars fandom Facebook page, and it was a link to an article. I think it was by Schmoes Know, saying new international Star Wars trailer drops with tons of new footage.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Now, you have to understand, I kind of keep up with Star Wars, you know, on a constant. I'm kind of on the constant. I'm usually checking out the Reddit page, and there's certain people like Jeremy Conrad, who is on the MakingStarWars.net podcast. Usually, if something has happened in the Star Wars world, if I check his Twitter feed, he's on top of it before anybody else is. And I had checked those this morning, and I hadn't seen anything. So I saw this article, and I went, wait, what? I said, no, there can't be a new trailer that dropped. Give me a break. That can't have happened. And now I'm pressed for time, because now I've read the email, I'm not set up for my notes, and time is quickly, you know, falling away from me. And I go and I hit the link, and this trailer starts, and I'm going, no way, we're getting a brand new trailer?
The dark side.
I was shocked. It was so completely unexpected, especially when you compare it to how much we were all waiting for the full trailer. And here I am, out of the Disney mindset, getting ready to do my show, and, you know, this brand new full trailer drops with a whole bunch of new footage, and not just footage, but dialogue that kind of turns everything on its head.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
So I watched this thing, and there was a moment where I went, I have to call in sick. I'm going to have to go home now. There's no way that I'm going to be able to continue with my morning now that I've seen this footage and what we now have heard. I was floored. And there's few people in the building that share in my same type of Star Wars fandom. But there's one guy across the hall that works for our sister station called The Groove. Great guy. One of my favorite dudes in the building. He's a morning show host over there. He's actually on the same time that I am. Really, really good guy. He's a big Star Wars fan. So I'm like, oh, dude, he totally, I know, hasn't seen this. So I brought it in for him. I'm like, he was in the middle of a song. I think it was Michael Jackson, Rock With You, and which was tough because I really liked that song, and a part of me wanted to sit there and listen to it. But I'm like, no, you got to watch this. And it was really cool because I was able to go for the second time and watch the new trailer with this guy who's a huge fan who hadn't seen it yet. And we were jumping up and down in the studio like a couple of little girls, just giddy over the footage in this trailer. There's the shot of Rey in the distance on her speeder that looks like the binary sunset scene from A New Hope. There is a shot of 6 to 7 TIE fighters in silhouette approaching with the sun in the background and 2 moons kind of covering up at an angle the sun behind them. I mean, it reminds you, and somebody actually put this online. It was the first thing that popped into my head. It was this visual that you get of like Cobra helicopters or Hueys in like Apocalypse Now. If you can remember the poster from Apocalypse Now, that shot was like, are you kidding me?
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
There's this shot of Kylo Ren. Rey is on the ground looking terrified, and Kylo brings up the erratic, spitting plasma red lightsaber up to her face, and she looks absolutely terrified. I mean, this trailer just blew out of the water, in my opinion. That first full trailer. The emotion attached to it, the words that were said, the dialogue, that stuff that we kind of already knew, but really just took the whole thing and just turned it up on its head. And what's really funny about it is that, again, J.J. Abrams had said just this week in an interview, yeah, there might be some TV spots, which some of us kind of assume we'll get maybe a little bit of footage. There was footage in the lead up to the full trailer on Monday Night Football that never made it into the trailer. A shot of Poe Dameron and then a shot of Rey looking up and seeing all of the First Order ships flying ahead on the planet that Maz Kanata's castle's on. Now I'm getting too detailed. But even this week, J.J. Abrams was like, "Yeah, we're not going to get any other trailers," and we're like, well, "That's a trailer. This is a big trailer." Now, there was a lot of footage repeated in this particular trailer, but I would say at least half of it was new. There was one particular shot, and it's tough because, and I'm going to go through the whole trailer in its entirety in just a moment. We'll do kind of what we did the last time when the full trailer came out, and I will run through it. I'll run through it sort of dialogue by dialogue. But there's shots in here a bunch of shots of BB-8, Princess Leia in the battle room on the Resistance base, BB-8 looking off at an explosion. Again, lots of shots of BB-8. There is one particular shot, however, before we play the trailer and then begin to dissect the dialogue in it. And I pulled it up just now. It's an additional shot to the X-Wing fighters coming down on Starkiller Base on the snow planet. I'm a big fan of vehicles. I love the spaceships in Star Wars. It's I love everything, but it was one of my favorite things. And I was so stoked because I actually found, I have Poe Dameron's black X-Wing, the big Hasbro one. That one I'm saving for Christmas. But I've been wanting the white and blue one. And I'd seen that somebody had found it online at Walmart, and I went to my Walmart yesterday before all this happened, and it didn't look like they had anything new. And then I looked up, and on the upper shelf they had stacked about 8 boxes of these X-Wings, and I was like scored. I was totally stoked. So this one shot, and then we'll get to the trailer itself. There is this one quick shot at 1:13 in. It's 3 X-Wing fighters. There's 2 off in the distance. One sort of center frame at a right angle. The other one sort of down below the frame. The shot is of an X-Wing fighter as if somebody had stuck a GoPro on the upper right wing of the X-Wing. what it looks like is a shot from Top Gun. If you remember the shot